Hey guys, welcome to the lesson on choosing and deciding. We are going to talk about how choosing and deciding are critical to designing your dream life. So these two concepts are different. So choosing means to pick one option over another, and deciding means serving to resolve or settle something. So when you choose, it relates to your future. It hasn't been created yet. Choosing creates it. Deciding is what happens after you choose. So you've chosen something and you have to decide what about your past to bring into your future. So this is an idea that comes from Dan Sullivan, and he separates out choosing and deciding. And I just love it because you can choose what you want for your future, but then you have to decide what you want to bring from your past with you into your future. And this really gets at the difference between being past focused and future focused, which is so important for designing your dream life, because most of us will just go into default mode and use our brain to create our future. And your brain is going to create your future based on what it already knows from the past. It will never choose from your future that doesn't exist yet. It's just going to repeat what it already knows. So by intentionally designing your dream life, you're choosing how you want to live your life. You're choosing your life design from your future, and then you're intentionally deciding what to bring from your past with you into the future. You can choose the future you want, and you can decide what you want to bring with you from your past. When you are clear about your future and your past, you basically can decide what you want to do now. I love this quote from Tony Robbins. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. Oh my God, so good. It's so true. It's a moment. Your destiny is shaped in the moment you make the decision. When you sit in indecision and fail to commit to a choice, you're just wasting time. It might feel like you're being responsible, and that's usually how it's like disguised as like, oh, I'm thinking about it. But like, no, you're really not. You are just putting it off, and you're just not deciding, because you'll decide in a moment. You'll choose in a moment. And it's scary, and it feels better if you give yourself more time. Like it feels like you're making a safer decision, but it's really not necessary. All you have to do is choose and decide. Fear is not a reason not to choose or decide. Whew, I don't know. This is like maybe one of my favorite slides in the whole course, because I really want you to understand how much you are going to stay stuck if you continue to use I don't know. It just kills me, and it'll kill you. It'll kill your dreams. Saying I don't know keeps you stuck, and it's really just like indulging in confusion, and it just costs you time. Like there's no new information that's coming for you to make a better decision. It's just indulging in I don't know. So if you really don't know what you want for your life, like you might say like, okay, Natalie, that's great, but I really just don't know like what I want. Okay, well, I want you to schedule time on the calendar to figure it out. 1 hour every night for a week, and at the end of 7 days, you're going to make a decision and narrow it down to 2 things that you want to do in your life, and focus on those for a year. And that's how you commit, and that's how you move forward. Because it might be that you don't like those 2 things after you get into it, but at least you'll figure that out. At least you'll know those are off the list. And then you can move on to something else, and you're moving forward instead of wasting all that time staying stuck in I don't know. I want you to remember that there are no wrong decisions. Everything you decide is designing your future. So everything is happening the way that it's supposed to happen. How do you know? Because it happened. I love that. Like, oh, it happened the way it was supposed to happen. Like, how do I know? Because it happened that way. It wouldn't have happened that way if it wasn't supposed to happen that way. And there's such freedom in that, because when you really understand that, you will stop trying to fight with your past. Changing your mind, it's the devil. No, when you make a decision, I want you to practice honoring it no matter what, and not changing your mind, because we so often look back and change our minds, and it really kills our future. And the reason that we often change our mind is because when we start to take action, so we'll plan from our prefrontal cortex and everything is fine. We're like, okay, we're committed, we're all in, we're this. And as soon as we start to take action, fear and doubt creep in. And instead of just recognizing that that's your primitive brain just doing what it does, we take that to mean that we should change our mind. And then we change our mind. And then we stay stuck. And then we don't take action. And it kills dreams. Now, that is very different than taking action and then getting new information and new evidence to change course and change your mind. Most of the time, it's the fear and doubt that causes us to change our mind, and that's like the dream killer. Your brain is just afraid. It's okay. You don't need to act on this irrational fear. Your brain just really hasn't evolved for the modern world. It thinks it's trying to protect you from, getting killed. And on a day-to-day basis, you don't need that. How to make decisions. I want you to weigh the pros and cons, and I want you to think about your deathbed or the end of your life, and I want you to look back and which option would you choose? Ask your future self what to do. In 10 years from now, what does your future self think you should do right now? This is so powerful. Like, what would my future self want me to do? When I was deciding whether and when to quit my job as a financial planner to blog full-time and run my own business, I had to do a lot of these exercises. So I thought, in 10 years, what would I have wanted myself now to do? And like instantly, I was able to say I wanted to go full-time with my business. If failure doesn't matter, what would you choose? I love this because if failure really doesn't matter, it only matters to the extent that you make it mean something. So what if you made failure mean learning instead of failing? Which would you choose? What if you succeeded with both options? Which would you choose? So I want you to always give yourself a deadline when you're making a decision and decide no matter what. It's going to feel scary, especially if you're not used to making decisions, but I promise you that over time, after you kind of put these tools into practice and get really good at decision making, it won't be as scary anymore because you'll have practiced it. But for now, when you're practicing getting good at decision making, it is scary, and scary is good. Ask yourself what the worst case scenario is and what the best case scenario is. And again, always, always, always decide and like your reasoning when you decide. And I don't want you to change your mind. Practice getting really good at decision making quickly. Strong decision making skills are going to serve you so well in designing your dream life. All right, I will see you in the next lesson.